Welcome back. Well, you were having that conversation back here about praying for the children as they go forth. But let's look at the 2017 budget. Now, the passage of that budget appears to have been delayed due to certain issues. One of them, as said by the chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, Senator Daniel Agoje, the raid on his residence. He says that has somewhat delayed the passage of the budget. I mean, he was the one that said it on the floor of the Senate.
Okay.
The police raided his home on April the 20th, and for reasons yet to be disclosed, for which he said 18 files were carted away and the sum of 18 million naira. $19,000, 4,000 Saudi riyals were found and also taken away.
18 million naira in cash was sitting in his house.
Yes. On Thursday, an aide to Senator Daniel confirmed that the Nigerian police has returned all the documents and money seized from the residents. The aide, Mohammed Goje, a nephew to Senator Goje, confirmed that all the files, $19,000 and 4,000 Saudi riyals, had been returned to the home. No specific reference to the budget documents being among the files returned. But we had the police spokesperson in the studio, and he said the documents they had, there was none there that related in any way to the 2017 budget. I mean, I know Marco asked that question several times and said, indeed, none of the documents there related to the 2017 budget. Then he went on to reel out some of the documents they picked up. Well, the leadership of the National Assembly has agreed to streamline the 2017 budget so as to tally with the priority projects of the executive. So what is the state of the 2017 budget? What should Nigerians be looking at, be expecting? Well, we're going to be discussing that, and we have some economists in the house to help us understand the issues relating to the budget, why we are where we are, where we're going to, Nigeria out of recession, all of this tie into this and all that. Well, they will talk about it. So in the studio is Mr. Pascal Odibo, who's an economist. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And from our Abuja studio is Tokwe Fasua, who's also an economist. Thank you for joining us.
Oh my God, Tokwe has gone and grown a beard since the last time he was with us.
He's joined the beard gang.
You look different today, Tokwe.
Yes, I grew a beard though.
Okay.
Let's hope that, that the way your beard has grown quickly, our economy will grow that fast as well.
A big amen to that.
Okay, Tokwe, in your opinion, let's start with you. What do you think is, do you agree with that statement by the senator that part of what's delaying the budget is that raid on his residence? Do you think there are some other things that might have affected the passage of the budget?
Well, I think when such a thing as a raid on this, the house of one of the politicians happens, we should expect that they would try to make some political capital out of it. And it just so happens that the gentleman is the chairman on appropriation who saddled with tidying up the budget. So perhaps I see it as just a way of him registering a protest against the raid of his house. What is still baffling is that Nigeria happens to now be a place where keeping 18 million naira in a house plus $19,000 plus 4,000 Saudi is seen as not a big deal. And as you've just said earlier on now, all the monies have been returned without any thought or any explanation as to why are you keeping that kind of money? I mean, is it money laundering, or what kind of offense is this? It seems like because of the budget issue, everybody kind of backtracked. Initially, they thought it was the EFCC that raided the house, but eventually it was revealed as the police, in which case that also means that different law enforcement agencies are doing different raids at each point in time. A lot of whistleblowers are speaking up, perhaps with a view to getting their cut of the money. But in this instance, what we saw is a backtrack. In terms of what could have led to the delay, well, we're used to this. Okay? I mean, last year's budget was passed on the 5th of May, and that's the reason why they inserted something last year. To the extent that the budget should be effective up to 1 year after the year it was signed. Perhaps this is something that would continue to be the case in Nigeria's budget. But since the return of the civilian regimes, what we've seen is a gradual, degree of delay as the year went by. In the military era, I remember we would usually get the budget read perhaps on the first day of the year, as the case may be. And this budget was presented to the House, to the Joint House, I think, by the President around maybe the 18th or 20th something of December last year, with a view to seeing how this could be quickly done. I think for now, with the civilian regime we're in, I think we should actually forget about the budget being passed as it used to be, and as is the case in many of the democracies that we try to emulate.
Mr. Odibo, if the President was presenting the budget in December, are we fair to the National Assembly to expect it to be passed on time for it to start operating like it should?
Thank you very much, guys, for inviting me. By the way, I'm a business consultant and not an economist, so my thoughts and my perspective will not be in tandem with perhaps what typical economists will look at things. I think that there needs to be a structural reorganization of how and what represents the running of a state like Nigeria. Government or officials of government do things without overarching responsibility. What I mean by that is this: in the private sector, what drives the private sector is that, that is part of that we say that what is not monitored is what is done is what is monitored. There is no incentive for passing the budget by the 30th of ready for the next year. Mm-hmm. So if you ask Egoje to come and explain, he begins to tell you that 19 files of the budget are in his house, and he's just making excuses for that lack of commitment to achieve a focus. So to answer your question, both the executive and the legislature, I am looking for an institution that will hold them responsible. There is none. That is not even labor. There is nothing, nothing that holds the politicians responsible to perform. There is no performance measurement index. These guys will appear again in 2019, and you will vote for them, or they will rig themselves into power again. So the point I'm making here is that there is nothing in the structure that puts them on their toes. Nothing. So this will repeat itself for the budget of next year, and next year, and next year. So I thought
it may not.
I thought that I'm not a PDP or APC person, but we need to say the truth. When APC came and said they were bringing change, we had figured, those who voted for them, that these are one of the things that the economy is the most important document. The budget is the most important document law in every year. So we had thought that you will have, let us say, the first year you will still pussyfooting, trying to understand yourself. Now that you've gained some trajectory, we have hoped that in May 2017, somebody is given an excuse that his files, which are supposed to be in the National Assembly, is in his house as a reason why the budget has stayed this length of time. Something is fundamentally wrong, and it has to be dealt with. It has to be dealt with. So my take here is that we need to break away from the past, and that's what we're looking. We have to look for solutions. How do you judge a government? How do you judge a legislature? Such that, how do you reward them? How do you reward bad behavior? How do you reward good behavior in this political system, in the architecture that we run? So that this kind of guys or people are punished. In football, they say if you give a ball and you're supposed to score, that's the goal post, and you don't score. When the other guys get the ball, they go back, they score, and they say that's the punishment for you not scoring. So how do you punish this kind of bad behavior? This is bad behavior. It must be seen as such, that our legislature and the executive are not able to give us a budget approved, working by the 31st of this. Under normal circumstances, government should have shut down by now.
Okay, what you're implying is that an ineffective structure would result in an ineffective economy.
There is no doubt about it. It is the architecture. You see, the house and the building is held by the framework.
But let's look at it from this side. Yeah. Now, in the face of this structure, which you've described as ineffective, we've had monies being recovered from people's homes. Yeah. Don't ask me where the monies are. Now, we've had monies being recovered. I mean, Fashua talked about 18 million naira in someone's residence. That's another conversation altogether. But monies have been recovered. And then within the same period, the president writes to the National Assembly seeking for a loan for infrastructure. So what we're trying to say is that monies are being talked about every day. So there's money in the system. But you're saying that the structure could hinder the flow of the cash.
Yes, let me give you an instance, and I'm going to zero in on what you just said. There's a concept called public-private partnership. It has worked in other countries of the world. Has its challenges, but it's an opportunity for government to have assets that they didn't buy over time. I'll give you an instance. The Lekki-Ekpe Express Road was purchased through public-private partnership. Of course, Lagos State government at the point went and bought over. But what Lagos State has gotten over time is a brand new asset, virtually a brand new asset. That's no way you can compare the road now and what